Okay.
Sir, am I audible?
Good morning. Good morning, one and all. I am Dr. Sambat Kumar,
Video?
Head of the Department of Botany. Honorable Speaker of the Day, Dr. R. Devia, Professor and Head, Department of
Yes, sir. Please
Biotechnology,
start, sir.
AVIT, Arbade Vidu Institute of Technology, Vinayaga Mission University. Respected Principal in charge of our college, Dr. Srinivasan sir, academicians from various college and research scholars, and also our faculty and student friends. A warm welcome to the first webinar organized by the Department of Plant Biology and Plant Biotechnology, Dr. Ambedkar Government Arts College, Chennai. Green synthesis in the catchword for the combination of nanoparticles by plants or their metal bodies. The number of published researching works related with the application of nanomaterials in agriculture is increasing every year. Most of such work focus on the synthesis of nano devices, their characteristics as nanocarriers for controlled release of active substance and their interaction with the plants and microorganisms under controlled conditions. Important knowledge has been gained about uptake and distribution of nanomaterials in plants. In today's era, green synthesis of nanoparticles had a huge attention of many researchers because it is an effective, eco-friendly method, and the nanoparticles formed by their method are found to be a superior in quality and contains a lot of advantages. The webinar would be focusing on the theme the green synthesis of nanoparticle, a futuristic approach. We welcome you all to the webinars and hope it will the result in a new learning joint efforts research association. Thank you one and all. Now I request Dr. P. Balaji, Assistant Professor of Botany, Dr. Ambedkar Government Arts College, to brief profile about speakers. Dr. Balaji, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning to one and all. After the welcome address is a formal intro about today's speaker. Dr. R. Devika is presently working as Professor and Head, Department of Biotechnology, Aurubade Vidi Institute of Technology. She has specialized herself in environmental sciences through MSc from Bishop Weber College, Trichy, and MPhil from Anna University, and PhD from Tamil University. And she has received her MTech Biotechnology from Satyabama University and pursued her second PhD in Bioengineering from Satyabama University. She is having 21 years of academic experiences and 4.5 years of industrial experiences. She has completed her PhD under CSIR SRF Fellowship. She is a university rank holder right from undergraduation till MPhil. She is guiding 3 PhD scholars in various fields of expertise. She has guided 28 MPhils, 38 PGs, and 75 UG projects. She has published 76 research papers in several peer-reviewed journals, particularly Scopus and Web of Science, indexed national and international journals with high impact factors. She has presented and participated in 121 national and international conferences and seminars. She has published 2 books, namely Enzyme and Food Microbiology, an editor for a book, Food, Agriculture, Biotechnology, Nanotechnology, where she has contributed 8 chapters in it. She has received funds from a DPT, Ministry of Earth Sciences, Ministry of Environmental and Forest, to conduct various national conferences and community events like Earth Day, Communal Harmony. She has organized several national, international conferences, webinars, faculty development programs, and she herself being the resource person giving several lectures. She is an active life member in several professional societies, an editor-in-chief and editorial, a member for several reputed journals. Apart from that, she is a recipient of several awards such as Swatik Award for Proficiency, the Best Citizens of India Award, Bharat Jyoti Award, Certificate of Excellence, a Bharat Ratna Mother Teresa Gold Medal Award, Lifetime Education Achievement Award 2016, Inspirational Teacher Award, Human Handbook, a short biography with 14 Asian Admirable Achievers, highest research papers publications in 2018. So thank you all with that intro about the speaker. I welcome ma'am. Please, the session is handed over to Dr. Devika ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Balaji, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
A very good morning to everyone. I take this moment to thank the management, the principal, Dr. Ambedkar Arts and Science College, and a special thanks to Dr. Sambat Kumar for giving this opportunity to meeting you all in this webinar session. I'll present myself with the management, the principal, Dr. Ambedkar Arts and Science College, and a special thanks to Dr. Sambat Kumar for giving this opportunity to meeting you all in this webinar session. I'll present myself with the... Sir, it is clear? My presentation is clear, sir?
Okay, madam. Okay, madam.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, I take this opportunity to venture you people in a 30 to 40 minutes of journey towards green synthesis of nanoparticles, a futuristic approach. Actually, my topic will be focusing on three phases: past, present, and future. So this past actually goes with, you might have be wondering whether this nanotechnology has merged in 1980s. You are wrong. It is from the 4th century itself. Maybe the Romans, for their showing their expertise in the arts, or as a luxury, or their nobility, they would have made many artificial, artistic weapons and artistic utensils among their world. This is actually, you would have seen in many books. This cup is called a cage cup, which has a smooth inside, it will be very smooth, and outside it is a decorative cage-like structures. That's why the name came as cage cup. In a normal life, it appears a jade green. This is it. When light hits on behind the cup, it appears ruby red. It's an amazing phenomena. What is it behind? They are being impregnated with nanoparticles of silver. So next, when we cross about 4th century towards 16th to 18th century, many monuments, churches, buildings with artistic windows, with colorful windows have appeared. What are they? They are added with gold chloride, molten to the glasses, which resulted with the red tinted and silver nitrate nanoparticles, which gave glass a yellow color. This is all amazing. You can imagine the civilization has taken later, but even in the 4th to 18th century, we have evidences of usage of nanoparticles. And recent history, which when we venture into it, it started in 1959 when physicist Richard Feynman, when he was presenting about the atoms in one of his lecture, that is plenty of rooms at the bottom, the nanoparticles came into existence. And the curiosity among the researchers were developed. In 1960s, this was the first invention by Mohammed and Kathif, a Korean engineer together. They made the first MOSFET, which is a semiconductor, a gate oxide that is having a size of 100 nanometer thickness and 20 nanometer in length. And these two people together worked and they reached in 1962
Madam?
at MS Junction.
Madam?
Excuse me.
Sir,
Full screen போடுங்க மேடம்.
full screen la dhaan irukku, sir.
Slide is not visible.
And these two people,
Sorry, ma'am.
it is not visible?
Slide is not visible. You can show PPT. PPT नहीं दिख रहा है वो.
Yes, sir, it is there. Full screen is there.
Full screen போடுங்க மேடம்.
You can have slideshow, so that will be better because only first screen is visualized.
One sec, sir, one sec.
Please.
Yes, sir, it is there. Full screen is there.
Thank you.
This is okay. This is actually
Yeah.
the slide actually. Is this okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay madam.
This is okay? Okay. So shall I come from the beginning?
No, you continue search.
Okay, thank you, sir. So in 1960s, these two people have worked and they made a semiconductor. In 1962, again, they fabricated an MS junction transistor, which was made by gold film of 10 nanometer size. This is all with the 1960s, but the invention of SEM, that is in 1980s, had made the researchers venture into the nanotechnology. That SEM is scanning electron microscope. So in 1986, their book, Engine of Creations, The Coming Era of Nanotechnology, made the researchers to venture into this technology of nanoscience. So as a biologist, we are supposed to know what is within us, what are the particles in nano size within our life, which is coming across in daily life. So it starts from an atom, which is 0.1 nanometer. It is known thing for us, but just a glimpse to recall what we are and how we are. So then DNA of 2.5 nanometer and red blood cells of some 1000 nanometer, it goes and on and on. It's just a glimpse to recall our nano-sized particles, biological nano-sized particles within our body. And this slide will explain, is nanotechnology a single unit or an entity or a single study? No, I should say. It is a combination of physics, chemistry, biology, material science, information technology, mechanical engineering, image technology, and agriculture. So the combination of these things, a person, or if he says, I am a nanotechnologist, he should have a knowledge of physics and chemistry and biology and so on. And or he has to hold hands with the people, or a physicist, a chemist, a biologist, to work on with the nanoparticles. As there are many, I have to say, there are many applications, nanotechnology in various sectors.
Devya madam?
Yes, sir.
Devya madam? F5
Sir?
press பண்ணுங்க மேடம். F5 just full screen வந்துரும்.
அதுதான் பண்ணியிருந்தேன் லாஸ்ட் டைம்.
Slide show.
இது ஓகேவா?
இல்ல மேடம்.
இல்லையா?
வரல. press பண்ணுங்க மேடம். F5 just full screen வந்துரும்.
அதுதான் பண்ணியிருந்தேன்.
just F5 slide show போடு.
ஸ்லைட் ஷோ தான் போட்டேன். இது ஓகேவா?
இல்ல மேடம்.
இல்லையா?
F5 press பண்ணுங்க மேடம்.
F5 பண்ணது சரி. இப்போ தெரியலையா உங்களுக்கு?
ஒரு இது ஓகே மேடம், கேரி சாரி
Madam, from current slide, you click, then it will come.
Yes, sir, I will come.
Okay. From current slide down, it is there, no?
Yeah, I have come now.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Am I right?
ஓகே மேடம், எஸ்
Okay.
கரண்ட் ஸ்லைடுக்கு வந்துருங்க மேடம், கரண்ட் ஸ்லைட். தேங்க் யூ.
Okay. So, as a biologist, I am not going to concentrate the nanotechnology in various sectors. Since we are all in the biological background, I'll take up two sectors, one in agriculture and the other one in the environment. So now, you would have, our country is finding a difficulty in the crisis in the agriculture sector. So why the researchers are now involving all the people together to form a big sector to bring out a high yield and to monitor the agriculture field at any time by the farmers. You would have heard about IoT, Internet of Things.
Madam, current slide. Please, current slide on. First slide தான் இருக்கு.
அப்படியா?
கொஞ்சம் current slide க்கு scroll பண்ணு.
Or six. Agriculture field at any time by the farmers. You would have heard about IoT, Internet of Things.
F12 கூட press பண்ணி பாருங்க. Okay.
But the
Okay, madam.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Continue.
Sorry for it. Actually, I'm concentrating on agriculture. Everybody will be, finding out. Nowadays, everybody is talking about IoT, which is Internet of Things, where it has made its, an efficient methodology for the farmers, helping the farmers in various sectors, and monitoring the crop field at any time within his mobile itself. Nowadays, all the farmers or even the agriculturalists are using this technology for their improvement of their crops. What do this IoT does? This nano sensors, this part alone, if I explain, it is a great story or a big story which it is very interesting to do. So other things are all biology people, we know what are the amount of fertilizer it has to reach, amount of nutrients which has to reach the plant, and insects, how we are going to prevent the insects, herbicides and the fungicides, what are they? These things we will take care. But what about this nano sensors? We need to have a combination of an electronic person, electrical person, and a computer personality. How do they going to do this? You are going to place nano-sized sensors in the crop field, and you can divide your crop field into many sectors and place these nano sensors in each quarters, and they are being connected to IoT, that is the Internet of Things, where immediately the scarcity, any deficiency of water or humidity within the crop field, it will be indicated, or the nutrient supply is going to be reduced or in excess, can be monitored by the farmers in the time to time, and he can immediately respond to the sector, whether he is going to supply water or he is going to give the nutrients. So this is again like a drop method, which nowadays we have been following in the agriculture field. So this IoT has ventured into the agriculture, and in Andhra Pradesh, many agriculturers are using, and they have improved their crop field. So then the next slide will be concentrating on environment and energy. This is again we are in need of, where we are facing many pollution problems within the environment. How these nanotechnology or nanoparticles are going to work out? This is they are eco-friendly, as Dr. Sambat sir in his introductory part, he has explained it, right? They are eco-friendly, which is most important. They are going to not affect the future. It is going to give us a sustainable environment for the future generation. And we can have a detection of pollutants in the gaseous state or in the solid state, and bioremediation of if a polluted area is there, we can remediate by using the nanoparticles, and environmental monitoring, as I said in the previous slide, and in the energy conservation. This I will be telling you. Nowadays, solar panels are being used. They are being impregnated with nanoparticles, which is enhancing the energy storage within the batteries. So clean technology, again, this is also going to concentrate in the environment. So the next part, the present. Now, this few slides after this, It's actually an experimental procedure which has been taken up by me and my students and my fellow colleagues in my department. And we have also published many papers regarding this green synthesis of nanoparticles. We have done many experimental procedures which I'll be narrating as a story for you. This may help you in future for your project work. And when I say green synthesis, it means plants. What are plants? The gift of nature. They go with the resource of a country. They indicate the medicinal value from the ancient era, from the Rig Veda, Ayurveda, all those things. They have been used. WHO has accepted these drugs from plant sources for how many percentage? 80%. And India is known to be a rich source of medicinal value plants from Mount Himalayas, Western Ghats to down south. So how they have been present? The medicinal values, medicinal plants are very important in traditional medicine and as a herbal medicine. So how do these plants help us? What are the therapeutic values? Where are they have been formed? You will have a question about it. The plants do produce metabolites. What are they? They are classified into two as primary metabolites and secondary metabolites. So the primary metabolites are highly conserved with the structure and they have the pivotal role within the life cycle of a plant. And they directly involved in normal growth, development and reproduction. What about secondary metabolites? They are formed during the pathways, metabolic pathways within the plant. During, they are going to produce secondary metabolites of high therapeutic value. When did this occur? I mean the existence of secondary metabolites as medicinal value. When in 1910, when Kaushal received his Nobel Prize by identifying these metabolites have therapeutic values. What are their functions within the system of a plant? They are going to protect the plant from the pathogens. So, when I am going to concentrate right now with the metabolic secondary metabolites. What are they? There are few metabolites having their distinct therapeutic values and distinct structures. So first and foremost will be the phenolic compounds, which forms the largest group of one or more phenol groups in it. What do they have? They are anti-inflammatory ability, anti-hepatotoxic, phytoestrogenic activity, insecticidal, antioxidant, antiviral, and antifungal. So why not our pharmacologists? They will seek on to these materials. So examples are tannins, coumarins, flavonoids, and xanthones. All these are the examples of phenolic compounds. So the next one goes with the alkaloids. They contain nitrogen atom in the heterocyclic ring. So they have the capacity of analgesia, anesthesia, cardiac stimulation, respiration, muscular relaxation, vasoconstriction, hypertension and hypotension properties. So examples of alkaloids are nicotine, caffeine, etc. And saponins. The next saponins, the name came because of their soapiness. The compounds are steroids. And they used to have sugar units as pentose, hexose, and uranic acid also. These steroids are being used as anti-tumoric, anti-inflammatory, sedative, analgesic, and edema. And terpenes or resins. They are 5-carbon isoprene units. The family are Laminaceae, Pinaceae, Rutaceae, Apiaceae. They have essential oils. They produce essential oils and they are against anti-itching, anti-helminthes, vasodilation in the coronary vessels, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, anti-hemorrhoid, and antibacterial. Lipids. or the next secondary metabolites. They are fixed oils which are known as waxes, essential oils, steroids, fat-soluble vitamins, phospholipids. They are used for atherosclerosis, cardiovascular diseases, enhances drug absorption, skin care products, cosmetics, antiseptic, antimicrobial. This is all the nature's gift for us. So the pharmaceutical people, they are venturing into these compounds, bioactive compounds with various plants and in the different constitution, they are making the novel drugs. What about nanoparticles then? Why do nanoparticles play an important role in nanoscience right now? These nanoparticles are having unique properties in terms of, I'll be in the next slide, will explain you what are the unique properties of nanoparticles. How do they are being classified? The main unique feature is the size. That is, where they are classified as nanoparticles or ultra-fine particles, which range from 1 to 100 nanometer in diameter, and fine particles in range of 100 to 2500 nanometers, and coarse particles from 2500 to 10,000 nanometers. What are the unique properties? The main thing is the size, and it is of having different physical chemical properties. The size is going to define all the properties. How do they define? They are like colloidal particles. 100% colloidal particles? No, they do not sediment. They differ. The sedimentation is nil in case of nanoparticles. But they do have Brownian movement. So what are this is not alone the properties, there are only two properties. They have unique properties that nanoparticles exhibit optical or electrical properties. They are not visible under visible range, that is 400 to 700 nanometers. They require electron microscope. They need special nanofiltration techniques. The major part why nanoparticles are used in all various sectors are large area by volume ratio. This is the most important one. The following unique features is going to give the specification or the significance of nanoparticles in various sectors. Large area by volume ratio, they are affinity towards the solvent, they have effective coating by which the changes occur in chemical activity, catalytic activity and stability in suspension. The next point, diffusion occurs across the surface. Do you think this is the most important one? Yes, they can diffuse through cell membrane and they can pass from one cell to another in a short time. This is the most important thing. This which has taken nanoparticles into medical field. Low melting point, for example, 2.5 nanometer gold particle will melt at 300 degrees centigrade, whereas a bulk metal gold will needs 1064 degrees centigrade. The next one is the quantum mechanics, where they exhibit semiconductance property. So this is therefore they are used in the electrical and electronic fields. Now, this is actually the experiences which we have received through, say, 4 to 5 years of our experimental exposure has brought me here. Why not I share my experiences and the astonishing things which had occurred during our experiment. We have gone with 10 to 11 different species of plant species, but for a few examples I have given here. This is a recent one which our students have done, and they are all known to us. They have medicinal value, as we know, and therefore this experimental thing in formation of green synthesis actually starts from collection of the plants, segregation of the plants, dry or even you can go with fresh plants itself. Why? Because The first and foremost one is we are supposed to screen for phytochemicals, that is the bioactive compounds, which I have presented earlier, all the secondary metabolites. We are supposed to go in for the screening. So there are standard methods, about 15 phytochemicals, you can do it within your lab itself. You can screen for it and you can go with different solvents. We used methanol, ethanol, chloroform, petroleum ether, and even water as a solvent. And we had a comparative study with all these plants. And then we screened down which is the efficient solvent which gave us the maximum phytochemical extraction. So this has taken into it that extract. We have went with the GCMS analysis, and then we went with the synthesis of nanoparticles. Even we have gone with the isolation of even the bioactive compounds. Now we are not concentrating on all those things, but I am taking you to a journey of production or the synthesis of silver, copper, and iron nanoparticles from the plant extracts. How are we going to do it? We have taken in different concentrations, in different durations, how they have been formed. And then after the formation of the nanoparticles, we went with the FTIR analysis. When we are doing this, we were seeking the other laboratories. Now AVIT has FTIR, AFM, where we are using it, and even for the other people to use. And then we went with SEM analysis, antimicrobial activities and antioxidant activities. So this picture will clearly explain. These are the silver nanoparticle, copper and iron. And this beaker shows the concentration of just the silver alone. And this is the plant extract. And this actually one beaker which is showing the concentration of nanoparticles formation in all the beakers. So the difference in color, actually the nanoparticles, we made it in different proportions. So we reached it. When this nanoparticle formation was very amazing, from light to dark. So this indicated, and it has made us that we are confident that nanoparticles are being formed. So we reached it. So this one small graphical representation and the UV spectrophotometer analysis with the different proportions. So this one small graphical thing with 1:1 ratio, extract of 1 and 1 with the silver nitrate and copper, we had arrived the formation of nanoparticles in a particular nanometer. So this, after that, we even experimented with the different duration of formation, how they have done. So even there, of 30 minutes duration each, we could arrive the nanoparticle, a silver nanoparticle in different durations. So when you look on to these two graphical representations, there is a peak and therefore then there is no formation or any other thing, there is a drop off. So the optimal time and the optimal concentration is going to play an important role in the formation of the nanoparticles. So next slide is showing the FTR, where the peak, which represented 3,263, which confirms the presence of OH group in it, and the peak of 2,916 confirms with the CH group, and 1,600 nanometer goes with CC group, and peak at 1,020 CO group. This was big confirmed. And this is again, I was talking about the microbial, antimicrobial effect. So we had a comparative study with the plant extract as well as the nanoparticle with different microorganisms. We took four different microorganisms and we went with finding out the measurement of zone of inhibition in millimeter. So there was as increasing of concentration, there is an increase of zone of inhibition, and we have could confirm that the nanoparticles also have an effect on over the zone of inhibition. So this is all a small glimpses which which we experienced during our experimental work. And the few slides, I am going to concentrate on the futuristic issues. I mean, where these nanoparticles are taking its existence in the biomedical applications. So these nanoparticles are considered to be nanotherapeutic, where in the different sectors like targeted therapy, gene delivery, detection and diagnosis as a molecular imaging, biomarker mapping, and drug delivery. Then this nanotechnology in medicine can be divided into two, as nano devices and nano structures. When I go in with the nano devices, they are used in diagnosis, monitoring and supply of nutrients, or destruction of pathogens or repair of damaged organs. When we concentrate on nanoparticles, they are used to have a control over the physical, chemical and biological process of living cells. This is it. Nowadays, nanomedicine. You would have heard about this. What it refers to, it is the nanotechnology enabled medicine, which comprises of 5 major disciplines. That is the manufacturing of nanomaterials and devices, analytical and imaging tools, novel therapeutics and drug delivery system, clinical application, safety and toxicological issues. What is nano drug? Why we are using this nano drug? What are their significance? Because they have an improved drug biodistribution, and it targets the active molecules to the diseased tissue. It protects the healthy tissues. It is not affecting any healthy tissues beside the affected tissues. This is one another example where nano robots are being used by the dentists. They cannot they cannot enter into the pulp of a teeth. So they use nano robots as analogous. And these robots gets into contact with a crown or a mucosa and reaches the dendrite and reaches the dendrite tubules, which is of 1 to 4 microns, and proceed to the pulp. And this is actually a critical surgery which has been carried out by the dentist. So they use nanorobots for that. And next, the nanorobots are used in surgical procedures to cure heart diseases. Nanorobots of 20 nanometer is used to deliver drugs to perform invasive eye surgeries. Cytorobots and carrier robots for performing wireless intracellular intranuclear surgeries. This picture actually gives you an interesting story where these devices enter into your blood vessels and they disable the unwanted bacteria and viruses. This picture actually gives you so nanoparticles are even used in the vectors. Vector generation. They have 3 generations, where the first generation used nanospheres and nanocapsules. In the second generation, they have used polyethylene glycol nanoparticles. And in the third generation, under development, where they are going for recognition of ligands. Nanoparticles plays an important role in stem cells and tissue engineering. They are being used. Why? They do have advantages in that sector. How do? They reproduce the current signals. They exhibit the desirable behavior of the cell. They mimic the cell, provide efficient delivery system. They are enhancing tissue generation and inhibits the infection, which is all the most important or the significant role where the nanoparticles are playing a role. The next sector is with the osteoporosis treatment, where the nanoparticles could deliver the molecules where they are silencing the genes associated with the diseases. They limit the bone losses. They promote bone formation. One simple example which is being commercialized nowadays is Mesoporous silica nanoparticles, which fight against the bone diseases. So this is again what I was talking about the phytochemicals in nanostructural polymers and metals, and they are used in regenerative therapies on bones, vascular heart, cartilage, bladder, and brain tissue. So this is actually a small part of it. There are many thousands to 10,000 nanomaterial particles which are being commercialized. Am I audible?
Yes, madam. Some disturbance.
Yes, sir, that's what. So this is actually.
Okay, madam. Carry on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. These are all the nanoparticles from constituents. Now, the few slides later on, since you are young minds, I am also giving a nutshell or glimpses where nanotechnology is being used. If you are interested in sports, the sports equipments nowadays are being impregnated with nanoparticles for their hardness, for reduced weight, resistance, strength and weight ratio, durability, and friction. So here, even in our day-to-day life, nanoparticles are working a important role. This is again one more, archaeological point of view. Oil-based nanodroplets like measles and microemulsions are being used to protect our monuments or artistic thing where they remove the dirts and glimpses. So this is the before the application of the nanoparticle, and this is after the nanoparticle wash by oil droplets. This is again one more evidence that cathedral, old method, they have used already ethyl orthosilicate solution. Nowadays, they have impregnated silica nanoparticles along with ethyl orthosilicate, and they have cleaned this cathedral, and this has given a flexible chain structure which reduces the cracks. Without developing the cracks. Here again, the artistic, age-old artistic work where they have used calcium hydroxide and silica nanoparticles for the art restoration. What does this calcium hydroxide does? It penetrates into the surface with a small size and have a high surface interaction. This calcium oxide also interacts with the atmospheric carbon dioxide inside the pores of an object and transform into new calcium carbonate. So all these are just when I went in Google, all these things, many things are there. Kindly go through that and make yourself fit into any of the field. And I am actually ending my presentation with a codings today, or what I taught today: ability, motivation, attitude. You young people, you have the ability to do anything. I can do it. Why not you do it? Start doing it from today. You are being motivated by your parents, by your mentors, even by your friends, or even by your sisters or brothers. Why not you take it up? Attitude. If this is the most important one, if you have a slight change in the attitude, you will do it better, and this may be taking you to the success and to achieve your goals. So ability is within you, motivation, you can take it into a good sense, and you change, just a change in the attitude will take you to a higher heights. This is a thought, I'm in a word, I'm sharing it to young scientists and young future environmentalists, whatever may be. Thank you. And you change, just a change in the attitude will take you to a higher heights.
Dear participants, this session open for the discussion. Ma'am, it's a very good presentation from you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
This session open for discussion. Any clarification, any doubt, please ask directly. Dear participants, this session open for the discussion. Ma'am, it's a very good presentation. Ma'am, in the chat box,
Yes, sir.
we get the two questions. One from Rajesh. What is the transition value for the silver oxide nanoparticle in UV visible spectrophotometer? And second one, what is the stretching frequency value for the silver oxide in FTIR? It's the first question.
Okay. So this actually the silver nanoparticles in frequency is within the 500 nanometer, and the FTIR actually this goes with the compounds. What are the bonds or stretching occurs within the compound? So this is what we have in the FTIR. That is what I have explained, the stretching of bonds within in the FTIR. This goes with the compounds. What are the bonds?
So, ma'am, it's a second question. Second question from the South
Yes, sir.
Africa.
That is what I have explained.
They asked the question about the, ma'am, does pH and temperature of the silver nitrate solution affect the synthesis of the nanoparticle?
Yes, actually, even this we have experimented with the different pH and with the different temperature. But temperature, in the sense, we could not. The temperature also plays an important role. But everywhere in our biological sector, we have an optimal pH which is needed. So when we ventured into it, it was a normal pH and normal temperature is enough for the formation of silver nanoparticles. So we maintained it as a normal temperature. When we increase when we increase the temperature, you will have a variation in the composition. I should not say in the in their efficiency. That should have to take a new terminology in our experiment. But we have not tried it. But the optimum temperature is a room temperature, and optimum is pH is a normal pH in our experimental procedures.
Next one.
Yes.
How can I use nanoculture in the agri field and how it will the production?
In the agriculture.
Yeah, it's agriculture.
Yeah. Actually, this I was in the agriculture. Actually, what is I meant here is with IoT. So that nanoparticles sensors are being used. This is what I have been presented. But in the environment, when we take it into the environment conservation, nanoparticles are being used to reduce the pollutants as in the remediation. In the case of agriculture, I was concentrating with the biosensors, where the biosensors use the nanoparticles, nanosensors, maybe silver nanoparticles or even titanium. All these are in the electronics. When you see to Google those things, we have temperature monitoring nanosensors, pH nanosensors. They are all minute in size. Immediately they sense the difference in between the pH within the soil. They have the ability to find out the temperature deviation also. The signal has been transferred immediately to the through IoT method. That is a new story, and it is very interesting. And nowadays it has been in they are being applied within a huge crop field in Andhra Pradesh. Many of them have used this technology, and they are flourishing in the yield. So you can even see to that IoT in agriculture. You will get many things in that. huge field, which is quite interesting. Yes, sir.
From the Guru Prasad, zinc can be used in synthesis of nanoparticle.
Yes, zinc is there, sir. We have not tried with zinc. Actually, zinc oxide, when I went with the references, I found zinc oxide has enhanced the productivity in the plants. So zinc oxide is the most important one, and it is also taking its booming in the formation of, in the field of agriculture, where it has increased the yield of a crop. We have not gone with zinc. We have tried only with the 3 metals. In future, we will be going with it, sir.
Next one, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
From the Vaishnavi Punjab, they asked the question related to the nanomedicine. Whether the nano cell molecules, how can it human body immune system not response? If immune system response, then how can nanomedicine can survive in human body and do it during the function?
This actually, this is not a new thing for us. Like our former Chief Minister M.G. Ramchandran has, he is a lifestyle. He takes gold, I mean, as a small speck every day. This has increased his, it is known to known, has increased the life, I mean, aging, I mean, life span will increase. And even in our, maybe in the older days, or our grandpas and grandmas in the villages, some people, they used to have the golden teeth to show their wealthiness. But inborn as there is a slight erosion of these things will increase their lifespan. This is all there. So they have, and nowadays, even in Amazon, there is what is it, the mint, I mean, is being coated with silver particles. You would have seen in Amazon, it is there for purchase. So this is all going to increase our immunity, or they are going to have their goodness in our lifestyle. So I don't think there is a negative part using this, I mean, nanoparticles in our daily life.
It's the last question, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
What about the selenium as a nanoparticle?
Selenium.
Selenium, yes.
Selenium. Actually, this again I have to tell you, sir, the selenium also is venturing into it, but they are used in as semiconductors. Semiconductors, we have, actually I cannot say in the biological sectors, maybe because these are trace elements which are needed for our life. But as a semiconductor, we can use selenium nanoparticles, and they are used in electronics field and in the electrical appliances. And this can be, maybe this is slightly deviating from our subject, but the electronic people and electrical people are using the selenium nanoparticles.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for
so
sharing.
now we are going for the conclusion session. So my name is Dr. Tangraj. I give the vote of thanks for this webinar. The man gave the wonderful session about he's covered the entire topic of the green chemistry, green chemical synthesis of the nanoparticle. Man, he covered the entire thing. So you are not omitting anything. You start from the basic with the history and end with the application. Some of them not cover the FTIR data. You give the FTIR data also, how it converted, what are the bonds are there. Everything you are providing, ma'am. We are very happy about your webinar. So we get a lot of information. Thank you, ma'am. And for the organizer side, so once again I thank for our principal, Dr. Srinivasan sir, give the permission to conduct this kind of the seminar. And I thank to our beloved HOD, Dr. G. Sambat Kumar sir. He organized this kind of the wonderful webinar for arranging in front of our department. And also I thank the Dr. Karthikeyan sir and his son Akash. The last 2 days he spent more time to organize technical assistance to us and send all the email feedback brochure, everything. The Karthikeyan sir did a lot for our department. So I thank once again for the Karthikeyan sir, and be motivated by the our nutritional HOD ma'am, Anna ma'am, to our department motivate all the staff faculties to encourage to organize this kind of the seminar. Not but least, we get this overwhelming response from the participants. More than the 450 participants, they register the name and participate this kind of the seminar from all over the India. They come from the Punjab, Delhi, Kerala. So we get a lot of response within the short period. So this is one of the successful program conducted by the Department of Plant Biology and Biotechnology, Dr. Ambedkar Government Arts College. And once I thank for all the participants, organizer, and thanks one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Hope I have reached you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, one and all, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.